Has anyone ever tried to Dojo Storm you? Can you explain what Dojo Storming is, and then has anyone tried to do that?
Yeah, so Dojo Storming is basically when somebody busts into your gym and just challenges the coach or whatever. So
like
yeah,
Karate Kid.
Yeah,
when Cobra Kai rock up and they're like, look, I want to fight. My best guy's gonna fight your best guy, but they do it themselves.
Yeah,
that's happened to you then.
Yeah, that's happened. Yeah. It's not in like they didn't come in like and announce themselves like I'm here to take over the gym or whatever. But yeah, I've had people come in and challenge me, and yeah, it's another podcast in itself. That just talking about stories people come in. But yeah, I had a guy. The most recent one, I had a guy when I was away somewhere. A guy came in and he was. I might have been in Thailand, and a guy had come into the gym and asked about. Who's teaching grappling, you know, and they said, oh, Danny's the head coach or whatever, but he's not here. And they were like, oh, well, I'm going to come in, I'm going to test him, and, you know, and I was like...
That's just really weird,
yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah, and I was like, fucking hell. So I was teaching class, and then I was halfway through teaching a class, and I seen this random guy come in, he started like stretching off on the side of the mat, and I knew straight away, I'm like, this is the guy. This is the guy. And I just told everyone, I said, grab a partner, start grappling. Everyone started grappling, and the guy didn't want to fight me. He just wanted to grapple. So I think what he thought in his head is that he could come grapple me, maybe beat me, and then he'd be able to like take the class. He'd be able to say I'm the coach or something. That's sort of what I got from there weren't many words exchanged, and then yeah, I just jumped on his back and just strangled him. And
did he tap, or did you fully like choke him?
He tapped, but I put him to sleep because I thought you're a fucking twat. You know what I mean? You coming in here, and so he tapped, and he went out, and then I let him wake back up, and I said, do you want to go again? And he said, yeah. So I just did it again. I did exactly the same thing again. I took his back, but instead of stinking it under his neck and actually choking him clean, I just put it across his face, and I just tried to snap his neck, and there were a few pops. He tapped, you know, quite a lot on the mat, and then I let it go, and then he left, and that was it, really. So,
but you see that all, you know, like these YouTube bully like clips and stuff. You see that all the time. So I mean, I can't. He probably won't do it again.
Yeah,
or maybe he will. I don't know.
There's been a few over the years. I've had people come in and just like, yeah.
I was going to say that. We're probably going to have to do a part 2 with Daddy, because he's got so many stories that are like so amazing. But I'm going to say pre-COVID, so a couple of years ago, we were in the gym. I can't remember what happened, but do you remember there was a guy that called you out, and you said like publicly, like, and you've got a big following across Facebook and across Instagram. You were like, I'll pay you 500 for the winner.
No, I remember because this came up on my memories recently. So it was 10 grand. Yeah. So this basically, I'd booked this guy to fight. Yeah. This guy was fighting amateur rules, right? And he was getting paid, which doesn't happen, yeah? So he's there. He's like a journeyman. He's there just to basically make the numbers up. I was missing a fight. He was going to turn up. I was going to pay him. He was going to jump in with someone who's, you know, more experienced than him, but, you know, he's going to get stuck in and get 100 quid out of it or whatever. So he's turned up. He's way heavier than the other guy. He's seen the other guy and thought, I don't fancy this. So he's like, oh, we're not the same weight, so... And he's bailed, and I'm like, "Yeah, you're not the same weight. You're heavier than the guy. That's your advantage. You know, you've got the advantage of weight. He's better than you. He's probably going to win. That's why I'm paying you to be here. You know, you roll." Anyway, he kicked off, and he said he was going to report me to this MMA association, which doesn't exist. So I'm like, and so there's this back and I was just taking the piss. I'm like, "Yeah, you report me to that association, mate. Yeah, well done." And it got to the stage where he actually. And I'm screenshotting this and just putting it on Facebook. Everyone's laughing. And then it got to the stage where he started commenting on it, and he's like, "You're a fucking dick. I'm going to fight you." And I'm like, hold on a minute, right? So you've turned up to my gym. I've got you a fight with this amateur who's had a couple of fights, who, you know, you've decided you don't want to fight him, so you're going to bail. Now you think you're going to fight me. Do you know what I mean? I've had all these fights. So you don't want to fight this other guy for whatever reason because you think he's going to beat you. And now you want to fight me. I'm like... And he's like, yeah, I'll knock you down a few pegs or whatever. And I'm like, that's fine. Come to the gym on Friday and we'll fight. And he's like, oh, no, what we'll do is we'll do it on like a show or something. And I'm like, nah, you don't get to prepare. I'm like, if you want to fight, you come down on Friday and at 7 o'clock and we'll fight. We'll have a fight. And I said, I tell you what, if you can survive more than 3 minutes, I'll give you £10,000. And they were like, yeah, and everyone's going crazy, like, what the fuck, you know? So then I turned up to the gym on Friday. The gym's just full of fucking people.
You've never seen as many people at the gym.
Everyone's just there. And I just had 10 grand. I got 10 grand out in cash. And I'm just like, there's your 10 grand. I did a live video. There's your 10 grand, you know, time's ticking. Get here. All you got to do is survive. You don't have to beat me. If you can just survive more than 3 minutes. Once that clock hits 3 minutes, 10 grand's yours. I want to let him get out of a minute. I would have fucking put him to sleep. But
you are mad.
He just
absolutely mad.
How did you feel when Danny was staring into your eyes telling you that?
A bit scared.
Yeah, but
the pool of something on the floor. I don't know
but he never turned up, and then he just disappeared, and no one ever heard from him again. But I had nothing to do with that, by the way. He didn't
sleeping with the fishes.
But yeah, it's just one of them. He just So you do every now and again. You get those people, and I've done a few. I once triangled a guy, and he got dragged out. Yeah,
That was a good day.
I've had to. The good thing about the gym is when dickheads come in, we tend to all team up together, and someone will give them a good kick in, and it just keeps dickheads out of the gym. So that's.
You were telling me that about kind of MMA, like gym culture being quite wholesome in that, like if somebody's going to be an arse, I used to do like what happens, for example, if you tap and somebody breaks your leg anyway or breaks your arm anyway, then everyone in the gym will gang up on and be like, get the fuck out.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of like you look after your training partners.
You just learn it. It's just that culture. Someone new comes into them, and they just learn that that's the way. And yeah,
but again, that comes from the top. Do you know what I mean? Like, so if your head coaches of whatever attitude they've got, I suppose that then filters down. So you're like a really chill guy, aren't you? You know, you're a relaxed guy, and that would reflect it somewhat into your fighters and then into the team across all the disciplines. But yeah, like the mat itself, like from what I've experienced at AVT, and you know. It's a very welcoming place, and like you said, you see all races and religions, all career paths. It's a wild thing, you know, considering the state of the world today, that we are all sort of equal, and you see that on the mats.
That's the best thing about a gym. It's just a big melting pot of, you know, like you say, cultures, religions. Everyone's in there. You know, this morning you got Albanian refugees. Yeah. You got all these people just all on the mat together and just training. It's
a beautiful thing.
It is.
I don't know how long we've been going, George? 2 hours. Christ almighty.
2 hours, all right.
Let's wrap it up.
We're almost done. I've skipped a couple because we've already touched on them. Bearded Pine has asked, do you think that Adam shops at the kids section for clothes?
No, it's not that small.
Thanks, Danny. You're the first person actually ever say that. Even you're actually tall. You're taller than Josh, who thinks he's got like big man syndrome.
How much do you weigh?
How much do you think I weigh? Have a guess.
I'm terrible at guessing weight. I don't know, like 70 kilo.
Yeah. So you're very good. I'm actually 69 right now.
There you go.
Kilos.
Yeah, so Khabib's weight.
Yeah, he's a bit leaner than me, I think. And a bit meaner.
Beard Meats Food asked to kindly choke you out live on the podcast.
Yeah, I asked if you could choke him out. Don't do that, though, because I need a co-host.
What I said we'd do as well, for that question, I said, we'll go into the studio and you can show Adam how to choke me, so you can show him the technique for a rear naked choke.
Let's do it.
Okay, we'll do it in a bit. Can I ask my 2 questions? I've just got 2 real quick ones. So
go on. Yeah.
So I've asked a few so far, but a couple have popped into my head. So Danny, you mentioned that you didn't really like the whole strength conditioning part.
Yeah.
How much time do most MMA fighters dedicate to actually lifting weights? Is it, and what kind of weights did you
it's different for everyone. What I think people should do is they should do 2 sessions a week, and it should be like a full body, like you do a bit of everything. Because the problem with lifting weights for MMA is if you go like the sort of bodybuilding style where you know just doing chest or whatever, you get super sore, and then it's very hard to train again. So doing MMA, you know, you're doing boxing, kickboxing, wrestling, you've got all these things, you're sparring, you've got so many sessions. So doing weights on top of it, weights have just never interested me, but now it sort of does. Now I've learned how to train properly and stuff, and I wish I knew that back then. I would have trained a lot better. But I think the problem we've got now is strength and conditioning coaches, they'll get a fighter and they try and smash them. It's like that becomes then the main thing. So a lot of fighters might be doing 4 sessions a week, strength and conditioning, when there's really, they should be doing a lot less, concentrating on other areas of the game, because it's supposed to help your overall game. Whereas I get fighters turning up for sparring and they're fucked because they've been deadlifting.
Yeah.
And it's sort of fried the nervous system, whereas really they should be, for me, and everyone's got different ideas on it. For me, fighters should be doing You know, you can do your big compound lifts like benching, deadlifting, squatting, but don't go super heavy. Don't be going for like 1 rep maxes and stuff, because it's just going to fry your fucking nervous system, and that's what you need when you're sparring. That's really important.
I would have thought it'd been the other way around. So like I would have assumed most of the guys will be doing 1 RMs, you know, like a 1 rep max, rather than doing like, because you shouldn't get soft. And like maybe a deadlift, like you say, your nervous system will be affected, but I would have, but the top guys, I very rarely see them talking about actually lifting weights.
Yeah.
When you see them doing curls, and I'm like, what's the fucking point of doing curls?
Yeah, I think that's just a video. I think it's just, you S&C coaches, there's a lot of good coaches out there now. So yeah, the guy who I'm really interested in, who is called Phil Daru, he's the coach, strength and conditioning coach at American Top Team, and I'm actually following his program now. That's what I'm doing, and it's like, so one session you do like a lower body movement, so you do like a deadlift or a squat, one variation of them anyway, and then you would do a upper body, you push and a pull movement, and then you would just couple that with some like prehab exercises, you know, to stay on top of your injuries. I think that's a really good method, and you're doing sort of like between sort of 5 and 10 reps, somewhere in that middle range there, and you're not going like super heavy where I think for MMA you need to leave some in the tank. Yeah. You know, leave a few reps in the tank so you can actually train later. Whereas if you're training like a bodybuilder, or you train like you're not a strength athlete. So if you train like a strength athlete, you're going to be like, a strength athlete can give everything in that one session because that is the goal.
Yeah,
but for MMA, that's not the goal. The goal is to get better at sparring. So if you're fucked in sparring because you've been doing loads of curls,
yeah, for sure,
it's detrimental. So yeah, but again, that's another whole podcast right now.